Okay, welcome everyone. I'll call the January 26th Regional Council meeting call to order. And just to take a moment to acknowledge that the Northern Rockies Administration Center is located in the heart of the traditional territory of the Dene, Cree, and Denishaw people of Fort Nelson and Prophet River First Nations. We further recognize the rights provided by our treaty and celebrate the contributions and enduring presence of the Métis people in our region. Please be advised that tonight's meeting is available for the public to attend virtually, is being streamed and recorded. Council, are there any additions? CAO?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Any comments around tonight's agenda from the public? Oh, seeing none, I'm looking for adoption of the agenda. Councillor Enoch, seconded by Councillor Souls. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes, the Regional Council meeting of January the 12th and Committee of the Whole of January 12th. Councillor Enoch, seconded by Councillor Roper. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Business arising from the minutes. Okay, I have one on the January 12th meeting. I'm wondering if we have any further clarification from our request from NBCTA around the BMK letter. We were looking for further procurement information from them, and I wonder if they have gotten back to us as yet.
No, they haven't.
Okay, so how will we make sure that we don't lose track of that piece? Council, okay. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I can take it off my list then. Great. Okay, so that takes us to reports. Admin report number 04, the Solid Waste Management Plan. Take it away. Welcome. Okay, welcome, Ms. Glaves. Nice to see you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm here today to talk about the municipality's solid waste management plan. These plans are a requirement under the Environmental Management Act, and they outline regions' waste management strategies, priorities, and implementation goals. A thorough update is recommended every 10 years, followed by a 5-year review to measure any challenges, any successes, and the overall effectiveness of the plan. NRRM's solid waste management plan was created in 2016 with a review conducted in 2022, which brings us to 2026, where we're due for a 10-year update. This gives us an opportunity to review the initiatives and strategies of the municipality, and to update them based on evolving priorities and changes in demographic and economy. For the 2026 update, we'll be working with GHD, our environmental consultants, for public engagement, analysis, and development of the plan. I have Roxy with GHD joining virtually for a quick presentation on an overview of the plan and what that development timeline looks like. So I'll hand it over to Roxy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I hope that you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can.
I'm just going to share my screen here to just provide a brief overview of the solid waste management plan process. Okay. My name is Roxy Hasher. I'm a solid waste engineer at GHD, and as Jasmine mentioned, we've been working together on all things related to solid waste for over 15 years now. In BC, as of 2016, the Environmental Management Act requires regional districts to develop plans for the management and recycling of municipal solid waste materials. The Solid Waste Management Plan and any amendments to this plan must be approved by the minister. Public consultation is required before ministerial approval. And an approved solid waste management plan authorizes the regional district to manage municipal solid waste and recyclable materials in accordance to this plan, which includes any conditions set out by the OCs or permits or local bylaws. So the management plan process involves initiating the planning process, setting the direction of the plan, evaluating options, and then preparing and adopting the plan. And as Jasmine mentioned, then the next step is implementation plan of the plan, monitoring and reporting, and then the cycle renews. We're currently in the initiation stage of a 10-year update. Solid waste management in the Northern Rockies includes the waste system that has the landfill and public drop-off areas at the entrance to the landfill, the vermicomposting facility, garbage collection, and programming to support waste diversion, as well as a private recycling depot. So NRRM is responsible for planning on how waste is managed within the region and the operation of local solid waste facilities. In 2016, the current solid waste management plan was approved by the BC Ministry of Environment, and that plan set goals and created a 10-year strategy for managing garbage and recycling and organics. And an effectiveness review is completed about midway through that 10-year cycle, with reviews findings being helpful with this new update that's upcoming. So following the provincial guidelines, NRRM is due for an update starting in 2026. The update will build on strengths of the current plan and look for ways to improve waste diversion and the solid waste management facilities for the next decade. So in 2025, we began a preliminary planning process, and we are currently in this same process looking to initiate the plan with you today. This initial planning process involves establishing teams and committees, designing some consultation, and approving a budget for the plan renewal. Next, we will set a direction for the plan to identify principal goals, targets, assess the current system, and consider different waste trends that may affect you, as well as consulting with the public. We'll then evaluate options that have been developed, assess these for financial and administrative implications, and then again, go to public or interested party review on this plan to obtain their input. And then we will take all of these evaluations and input from the public to prepare a draft plan, which will be then reviewed by the advisory committee, available for public comment and council review. And finally, it will be submitted to the ministry for approval and then council adaptation. So the next steps and where we're at now is in the engagement strategy with the public. So we are making sure that the public and other interested parties are aware of the plan update and have the opportunity to provide their input. We want to assess the public satisfaction with the current system, gather inputs and ideas to inform the plan update. So some of the strategies that we have right now are some surveys, online surveys to the general public, workshops with NRM's Environmental Advisory Committee. We're planning some phone interviews with select business owners and service providers, and promoting online engagement and general awareness of the plan through digital channels and community events, and providing opportunity for the public to comment on the draft plan once it is available. NRM will also need to engage with First Nations, neighboring municipalities, and ministry staff throughout the plan development. So as mentioned, with the passing of this resolution today, that will initiate the plan, and then the oversight of the process will be passed along to the appropriate committee and staff. And then we will work with those staff and the committee, as well as the public, to develop the plan. Any questions from council or mayor?
Seeing none.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, Roxy. Yeah, so essentially as a bit of an overview of what that development looks like. And today we're seeking council's endorsement to proceed with the update. This resolution is a requirement under provincial guidelines to initiate that planning process. So that's where we'd sort of start off with the engagements following resolution.
Thank you, Jasmine. So council, before you is admin report 04. Ms. Glaves has just spoken to it, and there is a recommendation on that report. Councillor
Read it.
Souls.
That the NRRM begin the process of updating its solid waste management plan, notify the public of its intention to amend the plan, and begin a process of consultation on proposed plan amendments.
And seconded by Councillor Enox. And all those in favor? Perfect. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thanks, Roxy with
Yeah.
PhD.
Thanks so much, Roxy.
Thank you very much. I will drop off here.
All right. All right, moving on to report 5. And Miss Penny. And report 5 is the draft terms of reference for the Northern Rockies Primary Care Stabilization Planning Committee. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This report is coming back as a directed follow-up from the January 12th, 2026 meeting. At the meeting, Council formally established the Northern Rockies Primary Care Stabilization Planning Committee, appointed Deputy Mayor Gerwing as chair, and requested that a draft terms of reference be brought back for review. So the purpose of this report is to present a draft term of reference for Council's review and feedback. The intent is to clearly define the committee's mandate, scope, and reporting expectations to support focused and efficient work. The draft terms of reference are included as attachment 1 for Council's review and feedback. I do apologize because I just realized while I'm sitting there. In your terms of reference, under budget and resources,
Page 25, if you're.
Sorry.
you've got it. No problem.
Thank
If you're on a paper copy, it's page 25.
under budget and resources, there should be more information in there. So it should include the breakdown that's included in your report.
Right.
So
Okay.
that needs to be moved over.
Incorporated.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do apologize. I just realized that the draft terms of reference was done before the budget was finalized.
Okay.
And then,
Okay, are there any questions for Miss Penny? Okay, do you need a motion to adopt as presented? I don't see a recommendation on the report, but better safe than sorry. So I'm looking for a motion
Yeah.
to adopt the terms of reference as presented. Motion by Councillor Enox, seconded by Councillor Roper. Is there any further discussion? Sorry, Mayor, I finally remembered to do it. Go ahead, Councillor Souls. I drive him crazy because I always forget that piece.
I just want to remind our community how this is an exercise in how a community actually takes some of its future into its own hands, even though it's not in our wheelhouse. I mean, it's amazing that you actually have to go to the links, but when I look this over and I see who all is involved and how long we've been working from a council perspective to try to push the needle forward on healthcare, I think this is a really awesome committee and really awesome set of priorities established. It's good.
Thank you, Councillor Souls. Are there any further comments? Okay. Seeing none, you have a motion before you. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, report number 06, the interim audit report for information. Are there any comments around that? Okay,
I'll move we receive it for information.
great. Seconded by Councillor Souls. All those in favor, motion carries. Taking us to the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality Revenue Anticipated Bylaw number 243, 2026. So that the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 243, 2026 to be given first, second, and third readings. Are there any questions regarding the bylaw? Seeing none, looking for the motion. Councillor Soul, seconded by Councillor Roper. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries, thank you. Okay. You gotta have fun in your work, right? Okay, taking us to correspondence. For discussion, 8.1, we have a letter from Harry. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm so sorry, Henry. Thank you. All right. So a request for the NRRM Partnership Land Use Grant Eligibility Support for Proposed Long-Term Care Assisted Living Facility. And I did hand out, Mayor, just so that you know, I handed out to the rest of council because I received permission late from Michelle Mitchell, the Executive Director of NRSS.
I read that online.
Okay, good. So,
yeah.
okay, good. So, yeah, so I've passed it on to the rest of council. I don't know that I need to read it out for public. Do I? No, I don't. Okay, perfect. All right, so we all have the same information that we're working from. So, for discussion, opening it up. Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you. So, I think there's some various options that people are thinking about in this realm, and I don't wonder if we should just hold off on responding to this letter until staff gets an opportunity to really look at this option and look at some of the others, or try to find out what some of the other options in the community are, like the one that was put forward by Michelle. It's really not an option yet. It's just the fact that they're talking about it. So perhaps we need to be looking at a more robust process at looking at this type of facility in the community. But I'd say we should just put this on hold for now until staff can come back with a bit of a report for us.
Anybody else? So I guess I have a little bit of a difference of opinion slightly. I think that there is a huge need in our community. And so I would like to see us moving forward in terms of discussion with the proponent, not making any decisions tonight, but not necessarily putting it on hold either. I would just like to see us moving forward in discussing with NRSS what their hopes and dreams are, and with Henry, and because we have all spoken to Henry before, right? And hopefully with the seniors roundtable as well, and getting everybody working together, I think would be the best steps forward. So I don't know if that's like something that council can facilitate, or whether that's something that staff can facilitate. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at.
I think we might be saying the same thing differently.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think
I think
it was the on hold thing that.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. I think,
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, the idea would be get the staff to start discussions with all of these potential proponents is my thought. And
Yeah,
I guess
because I don't want to discourage.
Yeah, on hold just means that we're going to give staff some time to do that.
Yeah, because Henry has already done a lot of pre-work, right? So I don't want to necessarily hold up his process either. I think he's asking some specific questions that we, as council could maybe, take a more formal look at and coming up with those answers while at the same time working with existing organizations in our community that are currently servicing the seniors. So I think you're right. We're saying the same thing. And so because we are looking to direct staff to take a course of action, we probably need a motion. Right, as Miss LaVale is nodding affirmative. So, yeah, does anybody want to make a motion, or do you want to take my words there that I just said? And put that in a motion? So something like looking directly at the questions that Henry has proposed to council. Yeah, looking at what could be done or to get answers for his questions while at the same time working with local groups that are currently servicing housing needs for seniors in our community. I'll put that as a motion. And seconded by Councillor Enochs. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Great, thank you. And I guess somebody will contact Henry and let him know of tonight's discussion. Great, thank you so much. Okay, taking us then to the letter from Claude Normandeau around CN Rail and economic diversification. Oh yeah, so I wanted to make note that when I was speaking with Claude in connection with his letter, and he has a lot of great ideas, and I think he's really wanting to get involved in some economic options within the community, and he had some great ideas. So and when you look at our economic diversification presentation, there was that point that they made that, you know, they want community input. So I'm just wondering if we can somehow connect Mr. Normandeau with our the people that are conducting that, or with staff, I guess, and see if his participation could be connected. So okay, I'm getting nods. So do we need a motion, or are we good with that? We're good. We need a motion? No, we're good. We're good. Okay, good. We're good. Thank you. Any other comments on Mr. Normandeau's letter? Okay, thank you. Taking us to 8.3 was deferred from the January 12th Regional Council meeting, the letter from Floyd Bertrand, campus administrator from Northern Lights College, regarding the Northern Lights College Fort Nelson Community Advisory Group, and that they had requested that Miss Hillary Shepherd, Regional Development Officer, be appointed to the Fort Nelson Community Advisory Group as the Northern Rockies Regional Municipalities representative. And if council remembers, we had a discussion around that. Yeah, so we need to make a decision tonight on what we're going to do. And I'm seeing Councillor Souls would like to speak to them.
Well, it seems to me that our discussion before included the fact that it'd be a really good idea to talk to Ms. Shepherd about what she thinks about it before we decide to appoint her for something that she wasn't aware was happening.
Okay, Mayor, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you. It was the same basic comment that we needed to talk to the planning staff and see if the time was available and whether it was in the, you know, in their plan for the next coming year to participate. That I think once we understand staff's ability or not to participate, the second part of that was to appoint Councillor Enochs as well, that we were interested in letting them know that we wanted a staff and a council representative to sit this committee.
Great, thank you. Yes, I as just to recap our previous discussion, I felt it was a little bit odd that Northern Lights College would ask for a specific representative. And when you look at their letter, the purpose of This committee is to provide informed community-based advice to help guide local campus programming and delivery decisions so they remain relevant to community needs. So I think that council definitely has a role to play in that. They're also looking for membership is intended to include representation from local government. So yeah, I think that if the planning department has the capacity to make this a part of somebody's responsibilities, I guess we need that question answered first. Miss Lavelle, thank you.
you.
Save me.
I can confirm that this appointment is supported by the planning department and Hillary herself.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And so then the second part of that is, do we want to push Northern Lights College to include representation from council themselves, or do we want to just leave it as Miss Shepherd to represent council? Open for discussion. Councilor
Well, then
Roper.
Go ahead.
Councilor Roper and then the mayor, sorry.
I have full confidence that Hillary will bring all the information back to council. So I don't see it necessary to appoint a counselor, but I'm open to opinions.
Okay, thank you. Mayor?
Yeah, I think that we do need to have a counselor there. I think the council represents the will of the people and the understanding of the people, and I just think that that council should be there, provided that Councillor Enax has the time as part of her appointments. I think we write a letter to them saying that we appoint Ms. Shepherd and we appoint a council representative, Councillor Enax. So that's how I feel.
Okay, we might keep that as a motion, so keep that wording, but Councillor Souls would like to speak first.
I would recommend that as well, that we involve council. And it's because I sat in the meeting with not a number of you across the desk from Northern Lights College recently, not very long ago. And the level of surprise that they had with the fact that we really wanted something to happen here was kind of startling. And so I believe that taking council onto that committee right away opens up a dialogue that wouldn't otherwise happen. It actually continues. They left here having heard very loud and clear what our expectation of the college was, and I think reinforcing that is important through council. So,
Okay, thank you, Councillor Souls. Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's good to have a member of council there at the same time as having a member of our planning department working together to represent the NRM, I think is the best step forward. So I hear a motion from the mayor that was seconded by Councillor Souls to respond. Did you want to speak? No, okay. Oh, hold on, because it'll be more. Okay, so I heard the motion by the mayor, seconded by Councillor Souls, to write a letter back to the NLC, thanking them for their invitation and acknowledging that we would be pleased to have Ms. Shepherd and Councillor Enax represent us. So that's the motion that's on the table. Is there any further discussion? You good?
Okay.
Councillor Enax is good. Okay. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Oh, I had one more thing about Northern Lights College before we move on. Did we ever hear back from the college regarding their decision around the third year automotive service technician? Did we formally hear back from them? I know what their decision ultimately was, but when the mayor, myself and Councillor Souls met with them, they promised us a response back by Christmas. And yeah, Christmas, I think, was December 25th, and it's was now January 26th. So just wondering if we had received a letter back.
I don't recall seeing one, but I also wouldn't want to say that we haven't received one. So,
Okay.
but not formally through the communications department, no.
Okay, so should we just let that one go then? Mayor, what do you think?
Well, I didn't receive any formal communication from them before that time. I I don't know all the ins and outs of what happened around it, but I heard there, anecdotally, I guess I heard that there wasn't the support in the end that we had hoped there would be there for it. Became too much of a problem, became too difficult for the students, and I think that was pretty loud. So they probably decided not to. And I think maybe this committee is a bit of a result of the meeting that you and I and Councillor Souls had with them and staff, because we really did let them know the disappointment that the community has with them. So I think it probably is still appropriate that we ask for, a detailed decision letter from them about why it didn't go. I mean, we've heard some things, but maybe they should put it in writing.
Okay. So is that a motion that you would like to put forward?
Sure.
Okay. And seconded by Councillor Enox. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay. Moving on to the NRM letter to Brad Sperling, Chair, Peace River Regional District. Read the safety risk at highway entrance serving Pink Mountain Campground. So that's still for discussion. Was there any point that I was wondering is, have we heard back from our letter to the PRRD? I know we only sent it on January 8th, so I don't know if we've heard anything back from them in regards to our letter.
Not that I'm aware
Not
of.
that
no.
we're aware of. Okay.
Not from the Peace River Regional District, but there was a couple of different letters back from the Ministry of Highways and Transport.
Yeah.
And I can't remember some of those. You all probably would have seen those, but and my last trip down through there, I did see the no parking signs, put along the right of way there to try to keep people from parking in the turning lanes. So that happened. But yeah, generally, I don't think they really responded to our request very well. Oop, there it goes again.
Every meeting, right?
Every time.
Okay, so is there anything that we want to continue doing on this council? Like do you want to just wait to hear back from the PRD, or do we want to address the letters that we received in relationship to what the ministry had to say, or Councillor Enox, go ahead. Councillor Enox and then Mayor.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the PRRD is going to come back with, and then just have a discussion if there's anything else that we can do to help the disastrous situation that's going to happen down there.
Okay, Mayor.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I am afraid. I think a lot of their letters was just based on the bureaucracy and not necessarily the specifics of the circumstances there. And yeah, I think more is needed, but I don't think we can take the lead on it. I think the Peace River Regional District, particularly the Area B, the Area B director should take the lead, and we can do what we can to support them.
Okay, perfect. So this will be put on somebody's watch list and looking for a response back from the PRD. Okay, great. Thank you. Moving on then to 8.6, the email from the AHMA Communications on behalf of Margaret Foth, CEO, requesting municipal support. So you all have the email before you. So just opening it up for discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Enox.
I was surprised of one of their solutions to it. This is the letter saying that they could turn onto the Cypress Creek Road and then drive through the subdivision where there's 15 trailers, kids, dogs, and with a separation of not even 2 proper lanes. And it still doesn't get them to the fuel pumps. They still have the issue of turning around. That's the issue. There's no room to turn around. This is the right.
No, but
I
that's
think we're
okay.
talking about a different letter.
That's okay. It was
I'm
good.
still
No,
thinking
that's
about that.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It was that,
Sorry.
it's good information to have back from the other one.
Yeah.
And as you bring that up, it notes in one of the letters too, that the gas pumps could be moved at the owner's own expense. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so we'll watch to see what the PRD has to say. Yeah, no, that's okay. I've been there. I've done that before. Right, Rada? Okay, so we're gonna go 8.6, and this is around the Aboriginal Housing Management Association. And they're looking for a letter of support. So I'm just gonna open it up for discussion to see if anybody has. Do you want to move forward on any of their request?
I guess I'll start.
Yeah,
I don't
Go
know
ahead,
much. I don't know much about this organization, but it seems to me they're focused mainly at housing for folks who don't have housing, right? And they're saying that more than 50% of the homeless people in BC are of Aboriginal, history descendants, and therefore they want to move this forward. So if they're looking at it from that perspective of the homeless folks, that's not that big of a problem. We can recognize the issue holistically in the province and give support, but I don't know that we need to start engaging with them around activities in our community. So that's just what I get from that. But as I said, I don't have a whole lot of understanding of what they do.
yeah, I just want to correct something I said, and then we'll go to Councillor Souls. So they're looking an opportunity to engage with our municipality through a meeting or a council presentation.
Yeah.
Councillor Souls.
I think that it wouldn't hurt having a conversation with them. I too don't know much about the organization, and I agree that there's the issues that they raised from a housing crisis are not really particular to us right now. But, there's actually merit to having a conversation with them, because we're also in an economic scenario where it would be very easy to start a project on their behalf. I mean, they themselves could start a project here, find housing while it's really affordable and so on before the need is really in place. So I think that, of course, would require a meeting with them or some kind of interaction, so that we know if they have a specific insight into Fort Nelson that we don't know about.
Councillor Roper.
I welcome any delegations that have information to present to council. So
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Bleeding tongue. Sorry.
I can hear her there.
Although it's not mentioned in here, the Aboriginal Housing Management Association is actually the entity that the Regional Development and Planning Department has been dealing with over the past several years. And most recently, quite actively around the Sunset development.
Is that them?
That
Okay.
is them. So they don't mention it in the letter, which
No.
is odd, so you might not make the connection, but I believe they're just asking for a bit
Yeah,
of council's time.
because they already
to
have a
present
project going
presentation.
forward, don't they?
They do, yeah.
They do have a project. but-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so what are council's wishes? Do we wish to have a presentation? They're asking us to have a meeting or a council presentation. Councilor Roper.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry, then.
But I will now that I'm qualified, just in case. I would just advise them to go through a regular process. If they feel it's necessary to present to us, there's a process for that. I wouldn't necessarily say that we're looking for them to be a delegation, but they're welcome to be a delegation through a regular process.
Okay. Anybody else have any feedback?
If my
Okay,
thoughts are,
Councillor.
if they're working with staff, then staff should just advise them to ask for a meeting over a particular project.
Okay. So what I'm hearing, council, say is that as they're already working with staff, we would welcome a meeting with them. Yeah, so we can proceed in that manner. Yes? Okay. Do we need a motion? No, we don't. Okay, good. Thank you so much. I love that these are recorded forevermore. People would. Hey, so 8.7, a letter from Rob Schweitzer, Assistant Deputy Minister, BC Wildfire Service, Ministry of Forest. Consultation on proposed update to the wildfire regulation. So it was addressed to to Scott Berry. Aaron, do you have the ability to speak to this?
I do, yes. So staff did meet with Deputy Fire Center Manager David Clark on Thursday to speak about this and sort of got the background about it. So what happened back when we changed from the town of Fort Nelson to the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality? The wildfire regulation, which lists 6 or 7 municipalities that permit the BC Wildfire Service to do our burning permits outside of our fire protection area, did not get updated. So it is a fairly simple administrative change in the wildfire regulation, which the Wildfire Act and the wildfire regulation, of course, are connected. So what it would do is it would just provide BC Wildfire with that ability to do burn permits and burning regulations outside of our fire protection area within the greater Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. So
Okay, so what are you looking for from council?
at this time, nothing.
Great.
Just updating you with information.
Okay, are there any questions or concerns? Okay, perfect, thank you. The rest are for information. So we had a letter sent to Leanne Hempel, CAO for BC Emergency Health Services regarding that community paramedic position. I just want to say great letter, like a really, really good letter. So whoever wrote it, well done, thank you. A letter from Gladys Attrill, President, and Jesse Wright, Chair of the Accord Working Group for the North Central Local Government Association. A letter from Fort Nelson, or a copy, I guess, of the letter from Fort Nelson First Nations that they also sent to Leanne Hempel around the community paramedic position. Letter sent to Bob Gammer, Manager, Northern Community Relations, BC Hydro, request for explanation on planned work and weather. Letter from April Moy, Destination Development Manager, Northern BC Tourism Association. It was a response to the BMK piling and anchor emails and subsequent situations that we dealt with last meeting. A letter from Ken Williams, Mayor, District of Highlands, read Bill M216, the Professional Reliance Act. 8.14, letter from Reverend Nura Massar, Fort Nelson Ministerial Association, and just expressing gratitude to the for the donation to the annual Christmas hamper event. And then NRRM letters to Ed Hoffman, Executive Director, North Area, and the Honorable Tamara Davidson, Minister of Environment and Parks, around the inactive Munchell Lake Campground and requests for ministerial attention. I love that letter. That was such a strong, powerful letter. Like, well done. It was very well done. So thank you. Okay. Moving on to new business, which we didn't have any new business. Sorry. Oh, yeah, a motion to receive those letters for information. Councillor Roper, seconded by Councillor Enox. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Where are we, John? 9, 10. Okay. Councillor reports. Do we have some councillor reports? Councillor Souls.
I'll give a report on my attendance at the resource forum. It's very interesting to sit in a room on in early morning where the stage, I mean, the room is full of people and there's about 400 people in the room, and on the stage are the Minister of Forests, the Minister of Jobs, Minister of Energy, and one other, and I can't recall off the top of my head, but anyway, there is such a narrative, the narrative around resource development in the province of BC has switched. It's done a 180 from where it was for a long, long time. And in that whole week or that whole forum, I didn't see anyone, hear anyone, or there was nothing that was anti-industry going on in those rooms. It's really fascinating what happens when a province is going broke. It likes to actually get something going again.
Just remind us what conference you were at.
I was at the resource, the
Resource
BC
Forum, right?
Resource. What's its title? BC Natural Resource
Thank you.
Forum.
Yeah, I
Yes,
couldn't remember
sorry.
either. Thanks, Hillary.
So as to our own, some of the meetings we had, there were many meetings, many connections were made. And so I'll give some of mine. And the first thing that we did is in attending, and thank you, Mayor, that I could actually pretend I was you for a short time and actually just visit with people. And I said, I always made the distinction between us, believe me. So
Thank you for attending on my behalf. Thank you.
yeah, it was really awesome to bump into our Chamber of Commerce, Bev, at the very first reception. And that reception, she just happened to be talking as I walked in, and I saw her, and she's talking with two executive members of Columbia Rail. And Columbia Rail is a short line rail company out of the state of Washington that run short lines in numerous places. And the reason that they were at the resource conference was the fact that the the Squamish to Lillooet line now has been idled. And so they were looking at that and meeting with BC Rail at this forum in order to have discussion around that. And then here we sit and bump into them, and we had a really good discussion with them about short line rail from Fort St. John to Fort Nelson, and what we gave them in that reception just a taste of it. They asked for a meeting actually with us. So the following day, Scott and Bev and I met with the Columbia Rail execs, and they picked up contact numbers. They asked for information on previous discussion. They asked for the records that we have, if whatever we can share regarding our discussions with the federal government and the provincial government, the appeals for funding, for rail repair, the condition of the line, who's involved with what. And they went away with a stack of notes and the connection points they need to gather a whole bunch more information. And I would gauge their interest in the short line as very high. It was a very interesting meeting.
What was
So
the
that-
name again? Columbia?
Columbia Rail.
Thanks.
And you can find them online, and it's an interesting read.
Okay.
The next thing, of course, you know that we've had discussion here before around the issues of the previous year's statements from the Premier and from others about the Northwest being the economic engine of the province. So, of course, at a forum like that, there was representation from the LNG plants, all of the mines in the Northwest, the shipping, the ports like Prince Rupert, of course, is represented there. And so a really broad range of industry players. So and councils and regional district people. So I like talking to people. So I talked to all these different members at the trade show, plus you meet them at receptions and so on. So I started to ask the mining groups of people if the narrative around mining is actually just a narrative, or whether they're actually seeing on the ground permit advancement, First Nation agreements, development plans being submitted, and so on. And everyone that I talked to said that it's for sure happening. They're already started down the road of that development, that large scale mining export market being pulled together. So there's obviously a lot of effort being put into that and permitting and so on.
Was it in the Northwest only?
And well, yes, and this is just a report on what I heard in
Yeah.
the Northwest. And I talked to one of the executive from the Skeena Regional District, Skeena, what's the other part of Skeena?
Machaco,
Anyway, she confirmed that the mining development is very real and is happening, and they are in discussions all the time with the government. So it's actually a good sign from a provincial industry perspective. What, of course, you wonder what the Northeast is for, and we've talked about that a number of times, but I don't have the direct things, but I look forward to hearing from FNFN when they give a report on their participation. We did see that we bumped into Chief Archie and Cindy Bond, their dev person, and talked to them numerous times over the course of the forum. And very interesting they also had meetings with ministers that were lined up for that time. And so they came away from the meeting with another layer of forest license for log salvage, which is a wonderful thing because that is something that's ongoing and growing. And they also came away with a substantial fund for the reclamation work that they have been doing and that is expanding in the area. So both habitat and policy development and a whole bunch of lists of things that fall under that, but we'll let them describe that. But I just bring it up as an overview to say that FNFN came away with some things that are very beneficial for our region, and that's really good news. So,
And there's a public notice out on that.
there's a public notice out on that, yeah. And then I'm looking forward to Scott's reports when he gets back at the stable, because I'll just tease you with the one from Northern Health, but there was an admission on Northern Health to him regarding something about the CT world and our perception of it. So they're moving our way. And that's all I can say because I wasn't in the meeting. I got to hear Scott's take on it and his surprise. The last thing was that I'll really report. Well, actually, I listened to many of the various forums and I took notes on them. But one thing that was really obvious that when you listen to that over the course of 2 days, and there's a new group every about 2 hours, and you have a lot of different presentations, they all were very unified in a couple of things. The underlying idea of BC being open for industrial development was absolutely permeated the whole works. The second thing is that the Aboriginal component of all the development is also a given in the same way. It's also, there are partnerships, particularly strong ones in the coastal and southern nations and the industry development there, but not exclusively there. Definitely the interior had some as well. And so that, rather than having that as a focus of the discussion, that was like a given in the background, and that was well represented in the various presenters that came to the forum. And so at the last meeting that I actually had, I had a number of meetings, by the way, with John Jacques from Provectus Fuels, and he was there as well. So he managed a conversation, a short meeting with Chief Archie and Cindy. He managed a short meeting with Chief Valerie and with Lori Ackerman. And John and I were talking. We ended up showing up at the dinner, at one of the ticketed dinner meetings, just as it was already beginning, but we showed up at it. And so we decided not to.
Did you crash it?
No,
Did you-
no, we didn't.
Oh,
We actually, I had a ticket. It wasn't mine, but someone gave it to me. So, and I didn't steal it, honestly. Anyway, it was really cool. We show up a little bit late. So when you do that at a dinner meeting, you have to figure out where you're going to sit down because you might miss dessert or you might miss the salad. And so it depends on where things are. So anyway, we just stood there for a minute looking like we were looking for a place. And of course, there's people watching for people like us.
'Cause you're
And
late.
so they found us and they said, hey, we've got a seat for you. So they took us to a seat. Well, guess who we were sitting beside? It was so cool. We sat down right beside Mike Hikeway, ADM of the Ministry of Forests.
Perfect.
Got in a conversation. John got into a conversation with Mike about what Provectus Fuels is. And I don't think I've ever seen Mike more excited than that. He's not really an excitable guy, but he was pretty excited to talk to someone who's got a biofuel industry plan that actually starts to substitute for, like, in case you're not watching, you watch the world of pulp mills. Pulp mills are disappearing because pulp mills are dependent completely on the primary fiber extraction of lumber and plywood and logs and so on. And the pulp mills are disappearing. So the pulp mills had the previous function of using all the other residual biofuels that came out of a harvesting world. And so here you've got John's a biofuel company sitting beside a ADM forest minister. And I can assure you that between the two of them, a whole bunch of contacts were shared. And I heard Mike saying to him, listen, I'm going to connect you with this minister and that minister and this ADM and that ADM, and we want a discussion with you.
That's excellent.
So anyway, I just think that there's interesting things happening, and we are where we are, and in a way, everything seems far away. But some of these ideas, like the Provectus idea, are very good ideas that have very long-term solutions to a lot of our bioenergy problems or our wood waste problems and so on. And so I think that's enough of a report. Overall, I think that the connections that were made between individuals and groups were just as valuable as the forum itself. But I look forward to others' take on it, especially Scott's when he's back. I think that's going to be really good.
Thank you, Counselor Souls. I really appreciate you stepping in and going, and for that report. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Any other Counselor Enox?
Well, I didn't attend any meetings the last 2 weeks other than the last council meeting, only because I had 2 trips out of town the last 2 weeks. But I do need to acknowledge that our Fort Nelson Senior Girls hockey team traveled to Beaver Lodge and Hythe this past weekend. I thought my hockey days were over after the 10 years I served, but I went, and they walked away with bronze, 2 wins, 1 tie, and 1 loss. So good for them.
Good. Excellent. Okay, Mayor, your turn.
Thank you. Thank you. So on January 22nd, I had the opportunity to sit with our Fire Smart Committee. You heard a lot of what the committee dealt with that particular night. Amy was there from GeoTerra and gave us a presentation, gave the committee a presentation of great discussions over that. We also got into it a little bit with Bob and Dave from the BC Wildfire Service, who had done a presentation in town, a meeting the night before. So I took the opportunity to thank them for coming to the community. And then the committee proceeded to sort of get a deep dive into some of the information that they had, and particularly around some of the plans that are coming together and the maps, and whether or not we can get, copies of it. They were a little bit evasive, I guess, the evening before when I asked about maps, but a little bit more forthcoming with the committee that we could get copies of the maps, as long as we knew that some of the sensitive information would be deleted from those. And then making sure that the plans that they have and the plans that we have are meshed together. They don't necessarily have to be written together, but they need to take each. Those plans are the plan that we talked about tonight, and their plans for around the community need to be talking to each other so that we're not duplicating any efforts there, and we're getting all the good information to the right people at the right time. And then, talked a little bit about the fact that there are going to be some gaps with respect to the funding on some of the projects and the project areas. So Amy talked about, where we're eligible for funds. And then the BC Wildfire Service, they've got some mitigation plans that they've got, and there seem to be some gaps in between. And that's where I think our committee will probably spend some time. Maybe we'll do some vegetation management, maybe some burns in conjunction with our fire department. So yeah, it was a good meeting. I think everybody got a lot out of that meeting. So yeah, so that's my report.
Great.
Oh, and of
Thank
course, when the minutes come out, you'll all have access to those minutes, and so you can read them if you like.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'll go then if there's nobody else. Okay. January 15th, I attended the BC Rural Health Network implementation meeting along with Diana Penny, that featured speaker Marcy Cohen, who is a research associate with the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives and an adjunct faculty member in health sciences at Simon Fraser University. She has co-authored a number of research and policy studies looking at public solutions to the current challenges in our healthcare systems. And she delivered such an interesting and exciting presentation around community-delivered, not-for-profit health clinics. Both Ms. Penny and I were just really excited after the presentation. So stay tuned for more information on that. January 19th, I attended the BC Health Coalition Steering Committee, who are hosting a series of virtual webinars exploring how not-for-profit team-based models could deliver better healthcare outcomes while reducing emergency room visits, improving the impact and efficiency of our healthcare system. I sent it to council and staff, but everybody out there is welcome to attend. There's 5 sessions. And if you are interested, just connect with me and I will send you the registration details, including public out there. January 20th, I attended the reconvened harm reduction table, which is looking for a name change that will better reflect the current services delivered. And I'll share updates as available. Further that day, I attended the organizing committee meeting for the 2026 Seniors Week, which will be taking place June 1st to the 5th. And continuing on the success of last year's event, this year's event promises to be a full week of very fun-filled events. January 21st, I attended the Environmental Advisory Committee meeting, and then followed by attending the BC Rural Health Network Executive Meeting. And then further that day, the community presentation around community fire risk reduction, the one that the mayor had attended, hosted by the BC Wildfire Service Ministry of Forest, which was an information session. Yeah, and I thought it was really well done. I too thank them for coming up, Mayor. And then on Saturday, I attended the community play, which, holy crow, shout out to absolutely everybody involved in that. I'm not going to name names because I'll forget people, but as always, this was their 14th year, if you can believe it, and they're already in planning for year 15. So yeah, well done, everybody involved with that. Yeah, and that's my report. Okay, moving on to 10.2 business outstanding. Seeing none. Any notice of motions? Nothing. Okay. Public news media question and answer period. Anything out there in Never Neverland? Nope. Great. Thank you. Okay. So resolution to move to a closed meeting, that the meeting be closed pursuant to section 91A(b) of the community charter. A is around personal information about identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality or another position appointed by the municipality. And B is around personal information about an identifiable individual who has been considered for a municipal award or honor, or who has offered to provide a gift to the municipality on condition of anonymity. So I need Councillor Enax, seconded by Councillor Souls. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. January 26th adjourned. And we are back into the regular regional council meeting of January 26th with a rise and report.
Apologies, I was not on my mic. I'll say that again. Moved by Mayor Fraser, seconded by Councillor Roper, that Regional Council appoint Sean Dowd, Fire Smart Coordinator, Fort Nelson First Nation, to the Community Fire Smart and Resiliency Committee as an alternate member, carried unanimously. And moved by Councillor Roper, seconded by Councillor Enax, that Andrea Warren and Julia Stidolf be appointed to the Northern Rockies Environmental Advisory Committee. Carried unanimously.
Great. Thank you so much. So that was our rise and report, and then I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.